I apologize. It has been a while since I've done a tutorial, but I've had finals, I've gone on vacation, I had an ear infection and could not mix for 2 weeks. I couldn't even hear. But, I'm back and I'm going to start putting out videos more regularly. So let's get to it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about sends. So one of the big reasons that I use sends, and a lot of engineers use sends, is it allows you to add an effect to an instrument or group of instruments without ruining your dry signal. You can automate the send and it will never change the levels of your dry. So instead of playing with the blend knob and effects, you just have them separate. So here we go. So my main channel is getting routed to the vocal output, but then I also have it linked to these sends. So I have a reverb send, a delay send, a chorus send, and a Leslie send. A Leslie is like a spinning speaker, so you'll understand once I show you it. So on every channel, on every send, my natural processing is EQ and nasty VCS. I love nasty VCS because it simulates a console, so it makes everything sound a little bit more together. I use it on everything, every channel, all the time now. It's just part of my workflow. So I'm gonna turn up the how much I'm sending to the reverb send, and you'll hear the difference. Here's the dry signal.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be?
Pretty basic. So now I'm going to turn up the, blend, or the how much I'm sending.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly?
Pretty solid. I like that. So now I have reverb on it. And like I said, if I want to just turn down the reverb,
why won't it come to me?
I turn down the reverb.
How does it have to be?
I want to pan the reverb.
Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a?
I can do all that and it never affects my dry signal because my dry signal is going here unaffected. I don't know why this is panned. So yeah, another useful thing is you still have your, it's a full mixer slot. So if I want to EQ,
why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century? Why won't it come to me?
So now I've EQ'd it. That's useful because whenever you have a thick vocal going through, you don't need your reverb sitting in the same place because then the reverb takes over or the vocal takes over and you feel like it's too dry or too wet. So using a send is an easy way to keep that. You can pan it, you can automate it for different sections. It's just very pliable. So now let's try the delay.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endless?
It's okay, but it's not great. So let's try making this a little bit out of the way.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
So that's cool. Oh, I actually did have the reverb on. Sorry about that. This is what it sounds like without the reverb.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be?
It's really crazy. You could just hear it like echoing to oblivion. So much echo. But if I put a little bit of reverb on it.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly?
I can kind of smear the delays so they don't sound so crisp and clear. They get pushed back with that reverb. Now let's set the level.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be?
That just works for me. So that's the reverb send. Now let's get crazy with the effects because everybody knows about reverb and delay. But let's start talking cool effects. So let's turn on a chorus. I'm using this. It's only a demo, but it's a chorus. So here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
It's cool. It's affected. So we can control all the parameters. I don't really want to do that. I just want to get it out of the way of the vocal. So here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century? Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly?
That's how I would do it. By EQing it out of the high end, I now have the send back in the mix, so it doesn't start. You don't start hearing it. It kind of blends in. It just falls into the mix. And two, it also allows you to keep it just kind of out of the way. Same as with what we did with the delay and the reverb. Now this is a little bit crazy. So I'm using this plugin, which is it's a Leslie, which is a spinning speaker. So I'm just going to use the rotator preset and flip that to fast. That's all I'd do. I don't really know this plugin inside and out, but the presets sound good, so I don't have to worry about it. So this is what a Leslie sounds like. I'll disable the dry signal so you could hear just the effect. Oh, I have to turn on. Here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be?
It's crazy. If I put it on slow.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be?
That's cool, but I like it a little bit faster, just personally. So here we go. Let's turn the dry signal back on.
Why won't it come to me?
So that's a way to make a vocal frantic. But it's pretty dramatic, and just like I mentioned before, it's a little bit too forward. And instead of pushing it back with EQ or something, I'm gonna add reverb on it. So here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
It's crazy. Still crazy. But now it's controlled.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
Now let's just set the level.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
That's cool. And the best thing is, if you want to use multiple sends, you can. So I'm going to turn all these back on, and it's going to sound like a disaster, but it's going to be awesome. So here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
And the best part about it is, since they're all sends, I can select all of them and control their volume. I could pan different effects to different sides, and I have full control of that. I'm never going to change the signal. These are just extra. So here we go.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly, or at least half a century?
See, that sounds weird, but you have that kind of control when you use sends. It's just useful. So hopefully you learned something about sends. The only thing I should tell you is you can't have any dry signal in your send. What happens if you do? You get the signals to mix, and then you get weird chorus effect, which is the sound being out of phase. Like it just doesn't sound great. So I'm going to mute these and show you what it sounds like.
Why won't it come to me? How does it have to be? Must I wait endlessly?
You hear that?
Or at least half a century?
It's just not pleasant. So when you do it, make sure that if you have a wet knob, always make sure it's fully wet. So this one, 100% wet, can't have any dry signal. On this, no dry signal, off, just wet. So that's how you use sends. Use it in cool ways, try something out, do something crazy with it. And another thing I didn't mention, which I probably should have, but this is unscripted, I'm just having fun with it. You could put as many things into one send as you want. You could have your main vocals, your background vocals, your lead synth all into one reverb if you want. That way they sound like they're in the same space performing. Really useful. But I can go on and on about sends all day. I use them constantly. As you can see, I have 4 just for vocals and then 5 for everything else. I love sends. Super useful. So leave a comment on what you want to see the next video about. I got a couple suggestions, but I want to hear what you guys want. So, hope you learned something. Peace.